Alright, let's try this again. Retake. Alright, we've been showing you how to start with the hunter's post and making yourself a base by making it bigger. And in my case, I had to also make it taller because of some of the vicious dinosaurs that were in this area, especially one that was an alpha. Now, I think it was a T-Rex, but it might have been something else. It's pretty big. It looked like a T-Rex. So I'll tell you what, let's give you some general information that will become useful if you do like I do. You have a main base and then you decide to make another base of operations in a different spot. The main reason why I'm in this different spot is because of the supply drops, also called supply crates. Now there's a green one right back there, and that island over there has a tendency to drop blue ones. That one's probably a blue one, and then off in the distance there's a purple one, and from time to time you'll see a gold one, and of course you have to be level 45 to collect those. So I'm going to continue to keep making this base bigger, and I'll probably put walls up and turn it into a fort with walls and a ceiling. Now that one that's way off in the distance in that cold, on top of that cold mountain, that one is red. I don't think I can collect that one until I reach level 70, and on a beginner server, that's basically not going to happen. Just to get to level 45, which I am currently, I had to do a whole lot of killing of alphas, different alpha dinosaurs that have the red glow, and that was a little bit too much. I've also got all this stuff here I need to download first. So what do you think? Before I go off looking to collect some more basic materials to continue this process of enlarging my hunter's post. It's already got more than 6 foundations / ceiling tiles on it, so it's not really qualifies as a hunter's post anymore. It's more of a base. My second base, which you might call a satellite base, and now you know why. Alrighty, let's go ahead and start the information that's generic to base operations. Alright, a little example here. I'm getting ready to take off again and do some more show and tell on the hunter's platform that you could turn into a base of operations or a fort. Now before I take off, I got all these critters over here at my original base, which started out as a hunter's platform on the edge of the water, and of course I could extend it some more because I've still got some shallow area left here before. I don't know if you can see it real well or not. Let's see. There we go. That might be a little easier to see. I've got quite a bit of space before it starts to fall off and get deep, but I'm up north, not very far from the frost line, or what they call the freeze to death zone. So I got to make sure my critters have enough food. Now, raw meat turns into this spoiled meat, which you would need if you're going to make some more narcotic. So it doesn't last very long in storage, even if you put it in the feeding trough. If you cook it, it lasts a little longer. And of course you could put 50 units in there. If you put it in a preserver with some spark powder and some oil, it'll eventually turn into cooked meat jerky, and that will last even longer. Now how much that goes in there is the same. When it comes to spoiled meat, of course it goes up to 100. But notice that I have a lot of berry eaters, and they've got no berries. So since I do have this spare Augie, and I was able to get a saddle for it, oh, the game's messing up again. That's one of the things about the game. Nothing is solid, and a lot of times if you can't pass through something, you can't get past it. So anyway, before we go on our next journey, we'll have to get down here so that we can look and see what we got. We've got plenty of berries, we got some seeds, which will come in handy at the new base. That's on the east coast. Come on. These water pipes have a way of getting in the way. So I'll take these with me, since my Augie can carry all this stuff without too much problems with weight restrictions. As long as I get all of it transferred over to my Augie, I could just barely handle that much weight. So then we'll get into Augie's, and then we'll just transfer everything over. I went ahead and put the trank arrows in there, and I don't have a crossbow. I guess I need to go back and load up some more tools. But in the meantime, if you grow this other... Oh dear, look what the game's doing to me. Trying to delete stuff. Alright, so got the right one. These are really nice to have. And they've got some seeds, but I'm not going to be growing these up there at the new base of operations too quick. On the East Coast, whereas this one is on the West Coast. And since these fertilizers last a whole lot longer than just putting straight poop in there to feed the plants, keep them alive. Now, sometimes this does not advance right away. It has this lag, so you kind of have to be careful about that. Otherwise, your Augie will suddenly be over its limit on what it can carry. So now to keep my herbivores happy that eat mostly berries, I'll go through here, and since each of these rows have one specific type of berry in it, I could just go across like this, and if I want the same kind of berry, I just go up and down since they're all the same. That's just the way I like to organize things. Alright, now I don't want to transfer these over to my Augie because I'm planning on feeding my pets with these. Now all of my pets can go without food for a while because they have a number. Oh, I need to move over one. Now see there? It won't let me. So I have to get down, then I have to move around until it says no room for fertilizer, even though it's kind of hard to read because it's dark. And then I could go ahead, so I got to stay down in the crouch position, because if I don't, it won't let me collect some berries. The pipe can't be too high. That's one restriction that the game puts on your avatar. If the water pipe is too high, then the plants don't seem to benefit from the water. It's like it sprays water, but it doesn't go to the plants. It's kind of weird. So you got to be careful about getting too high. Now we'll just transfer everything over. So now all the critters will be fed well for a while. And if you look at your critters' inventory, you can see right here the food. The higher this number is, the longer they can go without eating. So when I do my dodo birds, which I've got over here, along with a gifted dung beetle. Let me get in here to their inventory to show you. See how high the food number is? How low the health number is? I usually get this up to 50 before I start putting everything else in the food. And I don't mess with any other of these attributes. I just focus on the food, so I don't have to worry about them starving to death anytime soon. Well, Mr. Dung Beetle, I probably should give you some more. Yeah, here we go. They always do that to me. Oh, come on. Alright, we'll get down in the crouch position. And then we'll get into his inventory. Now, if I take this out, this oil, that's one of the reasons why I like to have a dung beetle. So that I can make beef jerky or cooked meat jerky. And I can also make prime meat jerky if I cook it first. And then stick it in the same preserver that I've got the cooked meat. It'll open up all the way back to here somewhere. But right now I don't need it. This doesn't have the fertilizer. Doesn't have a lot of weight. This actually seems to have slightly more weight. You see that number, 0.3 versus 0.1? Well, it takes 3 of these to make one of these if you're using the standard compost bin. But this guy here is even more efficient. So I never run out of fertilizer if I just remember to keep feeding poo. So we'll go over here, we'll That's one of the reasons why we have these pigs. Well, let me brighten this up a little bit. Let's go to press tab, GAMMA, space, and let's use the number 3. That looks bright enough, doesn't it? But anyway, that's why you have these pigs. Well, they don't call them pigs. You see the official name there? Now, I always name mine males or females. So, it's... let me get to the inventory here. Make it more visible. There's the official name for these. And I gave it a name of a bunch of 3s just to get it done. And, of course, that topped out level 51. You subtract 30 and you know what level it had when I did the taming process and it finished. And you can feed them white berries and they'll just poop up a storm. You could force feed them those white berries until they run out. But, of course, you want to do the same thing with them. You don't want to worry too much about these other numbers, even though I like to get mine up to 500 if they don't come that way. And I don't worry about that because I'm not doing any combat or running with them, even though I've got saddles on them. I don't go swimming with them. But I do want them to be able to go a long time without starving. And this number also becomes important when I'm trying to get them to poop a lot, because each time they poop, when I'm force feeding the white berries, the stem berries, this falls down. Now, I usually don't go much past the F in food, because if you're getting down to here, you're talking about basically starving them down to death, and they have to have access to a feeding trough or something right away, and this will slowly build back up. So this number is pretty important for these also, whereas these other numbers don't really matter much, since they're just going to stand in this one spot basically forever and be used as poop masters. Oh, it's getting dark. I better do this again. Tab, GAMMA, space, number 4 this time, and enter. That's still pretty dark, isn't it? We got an egg over here. Got some more poop. Alright, let's go to the next number. Now, though, this is about as high as I can go, the number 5. Because number 6 doesn't make much difference. More poop. Boy, they're just keeping me... Alright, let's go. Let's don't get distracted too much more. So we just hold down the old transfer key till it won't take anymore. Now, if the poop is too big, it won't take it. If it's small, it'll go ahead and take it and fill out that gap. Now, watch what happens when I take out the oil. See there? Now, he also will eat. This is his food. So naturally, I want to go ahead and give him some, even though I've got plenty in the feeding trough. Well, you might call that a little extra. Let's see, any more? No, I guess that's it. And since he has to be left on wondering, or he will not turn the poop into fertilizer, I'm not going to bother collecting that fertilizer for now. And I'm not going to worry about filling him up with more poop, so I need to get going here. Now, let's see, I don't need to carry this. Well, before I do that, let me see if I need to put some... I think all of the prime meat has already been turned into prime meat jerky. And I don't think I have too much cooked meat left in here. No, I still got some oil in there. In fact, I got quite a bit, so let's take some more with us. And yeah, all the prime meat is already turned into prime meat jerky. And this, of course, is the best way to keep your prime meat. It'll last longer in storage this way. And every so often I'll do this just to see if I can get these numbers up a little bit. But see, the numbers are different. If it's just cooked meat jerky, it goes to 50. Prime meat only goes to 30. And then I'll take these out of here if I need to go feed my dung beetle. I just put it in the feeding trough, but as you saw, the feeding trough's got plenty. Alright, all of my critters should be fine. So we'll just go ahead and get back on our journey. And I'll use my device to hold down my W key so I don't have to do it with my fingers. And once I get everything aligned, I just can let it ride. Now, to make sure I'm aligned properly, I look at my blue arrow there. And what I want to do is I want to head for that first mountain, which is actually a volcano. And I want to do the south side of it. Now, right now, it looks like I'm headed more or less towards the center of the volcano. And I want to go a little bit higher so I don't fly through the trees. And I want to move over just a little bit like so. So that my bird will come out on the south side where it's not quite so cold. Because of the uniform I'm wearing right now. Or you might call it clothing leather set that has an armor rating. And it also has a rating for battling the cold and the heat. It does a little bit better on the cold than it does the heat. Your avatar can get slightly overheated wearing this leather outfit. And of course you'll see a symbol on the bottom right hand side. It'll look like a little bit of a fireball. And if it gets too hot, it'll turn into a big old flame. And that's the killer heat. Your avatar's too hot for its fortitude number. The fortitude number is what helps you resist hot or cold. But you can also, if you can find and tame an otter, which can be a real nuisance to do, have the neck pet. There are various neck or shoulder pets that you can wear. And the otter helps you withstand both the heat and the cold. Your fortitude investment doesn't become so critical that way. I've only got mine on this avatar, I believe, up to 6.0. Well, I might have gone 8.0, but I think it was 6.0. That's usually what I do. And I let the clothing with the armor, the hot and cold rating, or a neck pet, shoulder pet, like the otter, which kind of cancels both heat and cold. All right, let me zoom back out. And there's your volcano. Now, if I keep going straight on this, what is that, about 46, 45, 46? If you see in the far off in the distance, under that dark cloud suggesting it's raining up there, when we get to that spot, if the dark clouds don't disappear, I believe that's the green obelisk. So we're basically heading towards it, but before we get there, you're going to notice that we have a little bit of a problem. Our fort is further to the north. So if we go straight until we get to that fork in the river, then we've got to follow the river straight north, and then we've got to go a little bit more to the right before we'll get to our hunter's platform that we've been turning into a base platform. No walls up or anything yet, like we did with the original that we just took off from. But that'll give you an idea. Now, if my Augie doesn't have a lot of weight, right now, if you look at the top right-hand side, you'll see a blinking symbol up there, which kind of looks like a lightning bolt symbol. Well, that's his stamina. And as long as I've got plenty of stamina still showing, and it hasn't burned down to just a very small tip on the bottom of it, of that symbol, then we know we're doing okay. We're not going to crash land. Because once the Augie runs out of that stamina, he's going to go down. Now, it used to be that the game would automatically throw your avatar out of the seat. So if you didn't have a parachute or you were too low and didn't get the parachute deployed fast enough, your avatar would die from fall damage. And of course, they got lots and lots of complaints about that. So eventually they changed it so that you're not automatically thrown off of the Augie like as if you push the E key and got ejected. Instead, the Augie goes down and you stay in the saddle, but the Augie's not going to be able to fly again for 20 to 30 seconds before it has its stamina built back up. So you're very vulnerable because you have no control over where the Augie will land. And he could land right in the middle of a bunch of meat eaters and get instantly pounced. Now, if that happens, of course, both of you will probably die depending on the settings that you've selected. Now, if you want to make this simple, even though I'm going to go ahead and turn a little bit more to the left, so we'll go up towards the side of the mountain that I like to stop at if my Augie's got plenty of weight limit left, and pick up some more metal, crystal, or obsidian, all rare materials that are normally found on hills, volcanoes, mountaintops, all of those elevations. Now, you can see from this map there's quite a few elevations spread here and there. And it's kind of a messy looking tree trunk cutting, like as if they cut across the tree trunk and you got all these rings. Well, the rings are kind of uneven because of the topographical mapping system that's trying to show you where the elevations are. Well, I guess you could call them tree rings, but we better call them mountain rings to be more accurate. If the rings on the topographical, having trouble saying the word now for some reason. If the rings are evenly spaced, then you've got probably a hilltop that is gradually going up in steps very evenly. Now, on the other ones, you notice that the rings are kind of jammed around and looks real messy. It's not nice and neat. Well, that's because the elevation is rough. On one side of it's smooth. On the other side, it's really sharp. And that's where the rings kind of bunch together on the sharp side of the elevation. I better go ahead and head back down a bit. I'm getting kind of high. And this is like a big gigantic dome, so it is possible to get up too high and bounce up against the upper limits. And of course, your ARK can't go through those. Now, we've already adjusted the gamma to the highest level possible, which is 5. So we cannot improve the visuals that you can see any better. Now, if we go down lower, it will look slightly better. The other thing is if we hold down the H, like a hotel key, you see up there at the top left? Right now, we're called the Frozen Tooth. That's the area we're flying over. It's 33 degrees, so it's a little chilly, and that's why in the lower right-hand side, you see that kind of like a snowflake-looking thing, telling you that you're kind of cold. And there's the name of my ride, Argentavis. That's a type of dinosaur. That's its current level, which is maxed out at 42. So you subtract 30, and you know that when it was tamed, that's the level it was. And there's the tribe name, which I renamed Tiny Tribe. Day 529 for this beginner server, and right now it's 0330. It's kind of like a military time thing in the morning. And we're heading for that next mountainous range. And we'll actually have to go a little more to the left. All right, there's one of those giant birds. Fly kind of slow, kind of hard to tame, because you got to be able to put them to sleep and feed them a bunch of fish and stuff. But let me move the mouse wheel back out. So what we need to do is we need to go a little bit further that way towards that purple supply crate indicator that you see in the distance, not the green one, but the purple one. That would get us pretty close to where we built our hunter's post, and we're enlarging it to make it into a base of operations, a secondary base of operations. Now in the future, since the new ARK 2 or ARK Survival Ascended version of this game is not going to be available until October, there's a good chance that the next time this beginner server gets wiped, that we'll be able to play this again. Because once they decide that the ARK 2 or ARK Survival Ascended becomes available for sale at whatever price they finally settle on, since they keep changing that, we might be able to still have beginner servers with a level it cap set at 44. I don't really expect them to make any changes to that idea. Let's go ahead a little bit more to the left. There we go. And if that's true, then this will be the area I'll probably try to settle in instead of on the west side. That's very attractive because of all of the ARKs that you can tame up there, plus other dinosaurs that are very useful. I didn't show you all the pets I've got. Some of them were out in the yard. But I didn't get to the north on the west side fast enough. So some people had already moved in there and started building. And that restricted how big my yard could be, since I build right there on the water's edge. And the base/fort is actually in the water, but right against the shoreline. Oh dear, look at that. We need to get our Argy down and give it some rest. And someone has already started, I would call it a modified hunter's post, because see, he's got walls and stuff. Now, the other thing to watch out for, well, there's another one right there. Let's go ahead and use this one for now. And we'll just land on it. But you have to build walls and stuff on these, on the high side, because dinosaurs could drop down and attack right through there. Now, we've got the blinking ham. Looks like it's almost finished. And Augie has a full charge. So then we just get back up to our pattern. But you can see there's another one right there. See what they did? They built up about 4 or 5 pillars. They put an extra one under it so they could do an expansion. And then they just put those door openings so they could put a roof on. Real simple design, but very effective. All right, now I've got to fly pretty high. And let's see, I need to go right around there. Because some of these dinosaurs are really, really big. And you also got Augies up on all these hills and volcanoes on the lower base area of them that you could tame if you think they're going to make a good pet. And you've got different dinosaurs, but this is also where you're going to have some pretty vicious dinosaurs. And they're usually pretty tall. Now, if you get too close to the Augies that are flying around up here wild, they will attack. They're very aggressive. And I'm not really looking to get into any kind of a contest or fight. In fact, right down there is a standard, commonly used Augie trap. It's made from stone gates, and it's got a gate in the front and the back that you can open and close as you need to, once you get the Augie to chase you in there. Well, I'm going to push the M key again, since I don't really need to use that. I know where I'm at. But the main reason why I would probably want to put my main base up here in the future, instead of on the west side, this is the east side of the coast. In fact, while we're doing this, let's show you what a team of players that work together, and I guess are all employed at Home Depot, what they do. See, they've used the standard pillars, and once they put them down, they can build right over top, and they've got basically a floating bridge. It's got different levels, and it goes all the way out. And this protects them, since it's elevated, from any of the big, mean, vicious dinosaurs. The meat eaters. And they got some pretty bad ones if you've seen the other parts to this particular series. Now they're starting another. See, they got the 2 gigantic gates. And they've also used them for their shark pen. Let's fly over that and see if you can actually see it. There we go. Got a couple of sharks in there. But this complex is huge. See how they build a bridge? And there's one of the bigger dinosaurs. They're probably using it to make sure their bridge is tall enough, but not so tall that the dinosaurs could get past it. It actually works like a fence that way. See how that's all elevated, but you got to have those posts down there. So they put all the posts in there. Now, these are the ones that I was having trouble with. All right, the ones I'm talking about is the ones that've got these spikes on their backs. They're kind of like spines. And they have a very special name. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like there's one that's separated from the bunch right there. See how big they are? Now, what happened was I got too close to one, and the game with my better Augie, can you actually see the name of them? It's in red, so it might be a little hard to read. And I don't... Oh, there we go. That's probably a little easier to read. But that's acted like a trap. My Augie got too close, and it was inside this dinosaur. And the dinosaur killed both me and my Augie at the same time. And we were stuck right behind its shoulders. But notice it's got the big claws, and it only took about 3 bites, and we were both dead. And of course, I did not get a chance to recover my Augie's saddle or anything. I had a couple of Augies I already trapped. But these guys are working together, and as you can see, they have this huge compound, and they built over the water and over the land. Oh dear. they got bunny ears on it, but they also got saddles. They must be doing a lot of fishing, going into caves and picking up stuff. Huh. Those saddles are really hard to come up with since we're limited to level 44. Oh, come on, land. Now, you see how this got this egg right here? Now, chances are it's not fertile. It's just a Rex egg. Well, one of the things you could do is any eggs you see laying around, you could pick up. Now, right now, they're playing. One of them is playing. Otherwise, it would say damage prevented. But as you can tell, their compounds are huge. And as a precaution, they've got the species X plants here. They got this gigantic area. I guess you would call this the basement floor, even though it's an elevated platform, just like a standard hunter's post that's been turned into a gigantic base of operations. And I would even call this a fort. Now notice that they will tame just about anything, and they'll tame many of them, because they all have different abilities. There's your basic stone gathering dinosaur. These little pink and, what'd you call it, tan? And then you got your bears. And they got a kangaroo in there. Those bears are pretty handy. And then you got a whole bunch of Argies. These are probably all females. And that one that's standing out is probably a male, and he's doing the breeding. And that's why they've got so many. Instead of taming a bunch of them, they just go and they breed them. They got the same thing going here. And let's see, it looks like it's not fertile. And of course it spoils in a while, so I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. I hope they don't mind me doing this. Since I'm going to be posting this on the internet, they're going to know what I did if they ever watch the video. And looks like they started some stairs and they changed their mind. But as you can see, it all started as a hunter's post. But now they didn't use the same trick I do with the wooden pillars to prevent these lumps and bumps. Some people, no matter how advanced they are, don't know that they can prevent these little tops of the pillars from showing. Oh dear, there's another egg. Does it say anything about being fertile? No, it doesn't seem to. But anyway, there's those big ones I was telling you about, that like we passed a little while ago. And of course you can tell this one's mine because it's got green lettering and it's easier to read. Let's see, did I ever? No, I didn't. Alright, so let's go into, and we can look up here and see that it's a male. So now we get it. Well, I'll just go ahead and transfer all this stuff over while I'm thinking about it here. So we hold down the E key, go to options, left click, and then go down here to change name. And usually what I do, I just type in male. So now when I look at it, it tells me that it is a male. See there? Instead of saying Argentavis, it's just got male, and it's got its current level. I find that a little easier. Oh, they've got the fog moving in again. And that, of course, that's called a Sarco. It's a big alligator. There's also a smaller one in the game. There's your Pteranodons. Pretty common first flyer for most people. And then there's your ones you use if you want to gather metal. They'll get a little bit more metal, and they also get a weight reduction so they can carry more of it. But they'll get a little bit of stone, and if they're hitting wood, they'll get a little bit of wood and thatch, but they'll usually get more thatch than wood. Okay, so that must be their breeding. These are slightly different. You saw me in one of the prior, what would you call it, parts of this series I'm doing. I killed 3 of them in the water because they kept attacking my post. Now, these are real handy to have, these iguanodons. Well, he's also got a kangaroo there. Primarily because you could turn any fruit into seed with them. Just put the fruits and vegetables in their inventory, and they'll automatically turn it into seed for you, so you can do your garden. And there's your typical tickled chicken, as they call them, with the big claws. I probably should get down closer so you can see what I'm talking about here. They're, even at low level, they are murderous, and they're really hard to tame because not only big, and they resist tranquilizing, but you have to feed them a bunch of narcotic until you get the taming process finished. But they don't eat meat, they eat berries. Then you got these tigers that come out of places like the redwoods. See the name there in red? Can you read that okay? They're kind of nice to have if you can get the saddle for them. And of course, these guys don't seem to have any problems with that either. And they're obviously breeding them because they all look pretty much the same. But they have the ability to jump up on trees and climb, up on walls and climb. It's a very vicious critter. It does a lot of damage. So if you're being attacked, you have a real good animal to fight back with. Now, as you can see, the roof on this one, because there's an upper level that they've got a bunch of big dinosaurs on. This is their, you might say, the upper level is their yard. Oh, that's just a plant leaf showing through. And see, they had a little trouble keeping this all the same level. So they've got all these lumps and bumps. They got pieces of pillars showing through. And then they got these walls and these stairs to try to compensate for all the problems they were having with uneven ground. I'm going to have to stay on this lower deck, otherwise I'm going to get stuck in their roof. If the roof is not tall enough and I try to walk through it, my avatar will actually get stuck in the roof. Okay, here we go. Oviraptor. Now, the Oviraptor, you usually fill its inventory full of rocks or something. It's a meat eater. So probably underneath this is another level where they've got the feeding troughs. And otherwise, he's full of rocks. And his advantage is you could put him... No, they don't have him on wander, because otherwise we'd see a bunch of blinking egg symbols around these other dinosaurs if they're close enough. But his primary purpose, since he's a scaredy cat that won't attack, he'll run away from you. His basic purpose is to help your dinosaurs lay eggs a little faster. Okay, there's a couple of bears. This, of course, is the big elephant. And it comes with a drum set, which you can remove. And there's, I wonder why he's all balled up like that. It's hiding his tail, I guess, in this. Yeah, but that's another rock buster. Now, they've got a couple of pigs. These are special pigs. Let me get close enough so you can see their name. If I could get good contrast. But anyway, what they do, besides being hard to tame, is they have a healing property. So even while they're under attack, they can heal their own wounds until their endurance, of course, or stamina runs down. And they'll heal up all the dinosaurs that are close by. Now, the reason why you see those pillars sticking through there is because they're using them for the upper level to provide support. And as you can see, they got some honey bees down there, and you can actually see the dirt. But they were using those for fishing, as fishing bait. Honey's a pretty good fishing bait. You've also got tree sap and leech blood that you can use for bait. And this is your Diplosaurus. They're the ones that'll push you around and not do very much damage, unless they push you off of a cliff. But you can get a saddle for them, and you could let other people ride on that saddle. Now, let me get past this bird here. All right. You see how it's got all those seats? What's that, 5 seats on both sides? Plus it's got the rider's seat. It's kind of like driving a bus, really. But they can whip up some damage with their tail once they're tamed, and they can push things around with their face. Oh dear, he's got dinosaurs sunk down in here. See, there's another rock buster with a saddle on it. And there's another Argentavis, some more tigers. I call that a rock metal buster, because you're looking for rock that's got streaks of gold or yellow, telling you that it's got metal, or if it's solid yellow, there's the preserver. See how it's smoking? Oh, they don't have a saddle on this one yet. But they got some water down there. Let's see, is it unlocked? Yep, I can drink out of there. I'm not sure what that is down there that's showing through it. Let's see, can we zoom in? It says water pipe. I guess it's showing through the ceiling underneath. But these species X plants that you see right there, like I've got, my primary purpose of those pesky pelicans, I know a lot of people call them seagulls, but they're supposed to be pelicans from a long time ago. That's a skin that's possible. You can put skins like that on all these dinosaurs if you get the right one, because each skin is bone skin like that is unique to each dinosaur. Well, what else can I show? He's got a pet scorpion too, huh? And they got, what's that, moss chops? That's what it looks like. Let's get down there. Oh no, those are the ones that you can breathe from. You see how they got that funny arrow-shaped head? They're kind of like a fancy salamander in some ways, except you can hold on to them, ride them, and you can withdraw oxygen from them. Oh dear, we're getting overexposed. What time is it? Yeah, it's basically 12 noon, so tab, GAMMA, space, and the number 2. Enter. There we go. That's much easier on the eyes. I usually use 2, but I could use 1.5 or 1.6, 1.8. In fact, I'll just demonstrate. Tab, GAMMA, and we'll make it 1.6. See it down there in the lower left? Okay, then we'll hit enter. And see, it darkens it up just a little bit more. Now, if I use a higher number, and at 9 I'll use all the way up to 5, because 6 doesn't make any difference, that I can detect anyway, in order to brighten up the screen so I can see at night. Well, let's see. I don't know if there's anything else to show you. The Home Depot group probably work together and play together. This game ARK can be very, very popular and very addictive. Alright, I did not come armed to do any taming or hunting. I left all that up here. And of course, straight ahead is the island that I've been going to back and forth. See how the screen will jerk and make as if the last 20, 30, well, maybe not 36, anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds has to be repeated. So my bird will just suddenly back up, be jerked back, and then I have to fly the same part again. And that's usually due to a bad internet connection between me and the servers. And I have no idea where the servers are. They could even be in a different country. I'm not really sure, but I think this is controlled and managed by a company that's in China. Of course, they could be in Taiwan or somewhere else, but I'm not really sure. Let's see. No, that doesn't look like it's got a red glow, so it's not an alpha raptor, just a common raptor. But somebody's been going around building these little traps, but they don't put any ramps on them. I guess they don't want anybody using them, and they keep the doors locked, so you can't open the doors. If you do mess up, and if they had ramps on there, people would use them. Even if they can't get in and retrieve the dinosaur that they hopefully just tamed and is inside. Oh, those guys are bad news. I was trying to tame one of those rock busters that are for metal. There's another one that's not glowing red, so it's not an alpha. And those stupid, I think they're considered to be hyenas. They attacked and killed it. before the taming process was finished. Not very nice. Well, that's how they are. And they'll attack you and your birds sometimes too. Other times they'll just ignore you. Kind of weird, but anyway. Alright, the first thing we want to do is see, did any of those seeds survive? Yeah. Oh, only 3 of them survived. Well, we better not hesitate. We better get those tamed right away. Oh, that bird's not going to make it, is he? No, he didn't. Alright, let's go ahead and take a second and see if I can eat this. Turn it down before it falls. No, it's not letting me, is it? Well, let's see. Let's do this another way then. The game, like I said, is kind of quirky. And there it goes. That worked. That worked. And I think something else just died too. Well, if it did, it fell through. Alright, let's see. Where did I put those fertilizers? There we go. Let's grab all these fertilizers. And let's go ahead and deposit a couple of them. Now let's go back to the first one. It's got plenty of water. So let's put one of these seeds in there and then go ahead and put it on another one. Do it again. And that way I'll have the stem berries right here for easy access. And we've got our stem berries started. Or excuse me, our narcotic started. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in there for now. Am I hungry? Yeah, let's go ahead and eat up these. Well, I gotta be careful. It'll have me eat these, and of course those are going to act like poison. So I need to go ahead and... Alright, so I used up all my fertilizer. Alright, we can go ahead and finish eating the rest of these. By just holding down the E key until they're all gone. Alrighty, we got that part done. I usually put out 4 or 5 of those. So let's go ahead and keep an eye on our weight here. Grab as many of these as I can carry. There we go. Grab that. Grab that. And we still got... Well, we better stop there. Of course, I could just move my bird closer to my preserver. And let's put those in there. That'll start making jerky. Since we've got the spark powder and we've got cooked meat. Of course, if I cook up any more of this meat, the same thing will happen. Alright, let's go ahead and grab... That should be enough spoiled meat. And then we'll go over here. Get over, let's see. Oh, I guess we do have to make some more, don't we? Alright, so let's go ahead and use the next one. And we'll transfer everything all at once. And then we just got to keep clicking here, right click, left click, until we've got it all covered. Now, if we don't have enough spoiled meat, we'll end up with all the spoiled meat gone. Some berries will still be left. And we'll have so many of these, depending on how many times I was able to get 100. Now, we come back over here and we would grab one of these if we needed it. But since we're going to transfer and use this one for the spark powder and gunpowder, and use this one for all of our tranquilizer products, we'll just stick it in there. We still got some more space. And I've got a third one. I haven't used it for anything yet, but we've got these options since I paid for the engrams. Alright, and I do believe that was all the fertilizer I had, right? Yeah, I didn't bring any more with me. I can put out one more plant. I've got one more seed with me. I probably should go ahead and put this out. So let's take it out. And we'll place it... move our bird first, I guess. Oh, and we got our first donation already. Alright, so I'm going to put it right next to this plant. That looks like a good spot as any for it. Oh dear, it'll even go inside the plant. See, I didn't get it. Oh, I did. I got it too close. So let's go ahead and pick this up right quick before it gets locked into the position. And let's move it out to about, how's that look? That looks much, much better. All right, put in our first donation. We need 3 of those to make 1 fertilizer. And we also need to put in, oh dear, we don't have any. I'll have to go get some more, because you got to have 50 of those, thatch, and 3 poops to make 1 fertilizer. So we don't have an ideal situation here. So let's go ahead and go down to our raft, the stone raft, since we've got some stuff in there. And I left these 2 corners open so I could put ladders, but I've only got a ladder on one side so far. And I believe it was the central one. There we go. And let's go ahead and grab those 2, because we want to have 2 sets if possible. But it looks like I'm going to have to go get some more, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't have any more to play with. But we'll use the bird since we can get back and forth a little quicker with it. So I'm showing you a whole lot more than just your basics on expanding. The other 2 parts that I've already demonstrated probably have all you need to know about turning one of these hunter's posts, enlarging it, and making it a base of operations. Let's see, let's go ahead and adjust our gamma again. Alright, now I need to, oh, that might be too bright. So let's do that again. And let's make it an even 3. Still too bright. Do it again. Let's make it a 2. Yeah, that's a little easier on the eyes. Let's see, I don't have any tools or weapons on me to speak of. So, let's see, we need spyglass for sure. We're going to need the hatchet. I've been killing alphas, so of course I got extra stuff. We're going to want to use crossbow. I could use that one, but I usually save that one for special occasions. When I'm going against an alpha or something that's big and hard to tame. Let's see, alright, so now we need some arrows, and I move those to the center part. I got 50 trinket arrows made right now. And let's see. And since the game is kind of quirky, I better make sure that those arrows, yeah, see what I mean? They didn't load up. Alright, so let's see, what else we need to put away? Spark powder, food, eggs. Oh, I better keep an eye on my weight here. Okay, so we've got all these extra arrows. I'm going to leave this one so I can mount it to a saddle if I need to. Oh, we also need to repair our uniform a bit here. Well, let's do this first, I guess. Oh, I can't put any more spark powder. I got too much. Well, let's go ahead and take a little bit out. Usually, if you got 400 or 500 worth, you got plenty. So now we'll go ahead and put the spark powder back in here. Oh, it's finished. I have to have some more stone before it'll process these into spark powder. Now I got to have some more charcoal before I can make any more gunpowder. Go ahead and take 2 of those stacks of 100 out, and we'll put it in here. That way we can make some more bullets, as long as we have what we need. And of course we need this. Well, we'll just put it on there. You got to have metal. I've still got 182. And you got to have gunpowder. The first number is how much I have. The second number is how much you need to make 1 bullet. I've got a slight surplus. I've also got, see, what I killed a raptor carno, I think. Yeah, I think that's how I got this. And it was level 7, I think. Took a lot of bullets to kill it, but I got it. And that was one of the rewards I got for doing so. Alright, now the next thing I should demonstrate is whenever you see these numbers are not maxed out and you're starting to collect some of this, what you want to do is you want to transfer it all over and then transfer it all back. And see how it opens up all this space? Also notice the numbers are maxed out on everything, if possible, if you've got enough. Now, the one thing that I don't think I'm able to do is make fish jerky. Now, I do have, well, I don't have enough, but I do have some mushrooms, some flowers, and I don't have any prime meat jerky, so I cannot do a mind wipe. And if I remember it, I did or I did not. Yeah, there's a cooking pot. I could make some mind wipe if I had more. Alright, so let's see. Let's use the crossbow. There it goes. For some reason, I got another lag. Alright, put there. And now push where you got your spyglass. Level 7, huh? Go back to the crossbow. Get the crosshairs on the target. And we've got a Oviraptor level 3. Push 8 to cancel. And that's why the spyglass is extremely useful. You don't want to be attacking something that would be a little bit hard for you to do. Bow, crossbow, anything that provides a crosshairs will get you on target. That one's a level 6. So it'd be good for meat and hide. Wouldn't make very useful pet. If it was closer to level 20 or something. Actually above 20, since all the dinosaurs on this beginner server max out at 30, unless they're a tech dinosaur, look kind of like a robot. If it looks like a robot, that's called a tech dinosaur, and they could go as high as 36. Let's see, that's a female. Now, if I tamed that one, my Augie can lift it without a saddle and put it up here. And we would get some eggs from her from time to time. But what I need to do is press the K key so you get a good, use the mouse wheel, zoom out a little bit or zoom in. That looks like a good spot. And then move the camera around a little bit so you can see my avatar with the Augie in the background. And say, I hope the show and tell was useful, even though it was mostly genetic information that beginners might need. Until next time.